What's poppin', y'all? It's your boy Druzy, and with the release of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, we were introduced to the Paradox forms of Pokemon, which are both past and future forms of old Pokemon. And I thought, what better way to go over them than to tier them on this ranking list? So let's go ahead and rank these people. So first up, we got the ancient form of Donphan and the first Paradox form revealed, Great Tusk, which is a ground fighting type. Overall, solid design. I like it. Pretty good one to start it all. And yeah. Next up, we've got Brute Bonnet, which is the grass dark type ancient form of Amoonguss. I'll be honest, not really the biggest fan. I don't hate the design, but it's definitely not one that I like. Like, it's I don't know, if I saw this thing in my garden, I'd probably freak out, so I'd rather pass on this one. And then we go into Sandy Shocks, the electric ground type. And for this one, I think just go ahead and yeah, we'll just yep, it's okay, green. And yeah, I'm not really a big fan of this design. I don't know why they gave Magneton an ancient form when it's clearly a futuristic Pokemon and not a future form, especially because they gave some of these Pokemon both past and future forms. So I don't know why they didn't just give it a future Paradox form, but either way, it doesn't really work conceptually. Like, it's a magnet and these things are like sticking to the ground, and I don't know if that's dirt or hair or what that is. It looks like Probopass kind of. I don't know, not really the biggest fan of Sandy Shocks. Electric ground type seems like a cool typing, but just execution not great. Concept doesn't really work, so I'm sorry, I don't like this one. This one's at the bottom of the barrel for me. Next up, we got Screamtail, which is ancient Jigglypuff. Honestly, I kind of like this one. It's not the worst, it's not amazing, but I can live with it. And then we got Fluttermane, the ghost fairy type ancient form of Misdreavus. I'm gonna be honest, I love Misdreavus, but this design is so lazy. They literally just gave it longer hair or horns or whatever the heck that is. The ghost fairy type is pretty cool, but I'm sorry, it's just a lazy design, so I can't justify that. And then we got Slitherwing, which is the ancient form of Volcarona, which is bug fighting. I'm gonna give this one a solid C tier. I'm gonna be honest, I like Volcarona as a Pokemon, but a big reason I do is because of the whole sun theme that it has going on and the partial fire type, and them getting rid of that just doesn't really match or make sense. And also, it's now crawling on the ground, it's like slithering, it's not flying anymore, which I also don't really like. Which now leads us to Roaring Moon. This thing is sick. It's an ancient Salamence that got the Hydreigon treatment. They gave it the Dragon Dark type. This thing literally looks like a cross between Ho-Oh and Mega Salamence. Like, if Mega Salamence and Ho-Oh had a baby, it would be this thing. Roaring Moon is sick. It just looks so aesthetically pleasing. It's beautiful. Its typing is more competitive now, and I love this thing. I love everything about it. Salamence is one of my all-time favorite Pokemon, and this thing is just incredible. I love it. And that's it for the past forms. So now we move on to the futuristic forms. Just as we started with Donphan for that, we're going to start with Donphan for the future forms as well. And we got Iron Treads, who is the future form of Donphan and the opposite of Great Tusk. Originally, I was thinking this thing would probably be like a B or C tier, but then after seeing a certain image online, I thought it was kind of disturbing that its face gets separated from the trunk, so yeah, not a big fan of that one. And then we got probably one of the few futuristic forms that I actually really like, which is Iron Moth, which is now a fire poison type version of Volcarona, which is its futuristic form. And honestly, I kind of like this one. I like the fire like theme that Volcarona has going on, and I'm not really a big fan of the whole Slither Wing one that just, you know, is like slithering on the ground and not having its fire type. So definitely more of a fan of Iron Moth than I am of Slitherwing. Next up, we got Iron Hands, the future form of Hariyama, which is fighting an electric type. And I'm gonna be honest, the design's not terrible, but it looks really derpy, and I can't really take this thing seriously. I think regular Hariyama just looks so like intimidating and like poised, like it knows what it's about to do. This thing just looks like if you spill water on it, it'll just malfunction and, I don't know, send Team Rocket to blast off. I don't know, it's not really one of my favorites. Next up, we got Iron Jugulis, the dark flying future form of Hydreigon. And believe it or not, I'm gonna put it down in F tier. As much as I love normal Hydreigon, I think this thing just literally looks too much like it, but also it just looks too jaggedy, and the wings are like too thin, and they don't really, obviously I get it's not supposed to look organic, but it just does not look aesthetically pleasing whatsoever, and it's just too close to the original, and it's not even a dragon type anymore. I just don't like it. I think it's a combination of just lazy and just bad, and so it gets F tier for me. And next up, we got Iron Thorns, the electric and rock type version of Tyranitar. And nah, I'm just kidding. I give this thing a C tier. I think the design's a lot better than some of the other robotic futuristic forms. I mean, maybe it's because we've seen robotic Tyranitar in the past in like Black 2 and White 2 and in the anime, but overall, just like the design, I give it a solid C tier. And then we got Iron Bundle, which is Ice Water Delibird. I'm surprised Game Freak even remembered Delibird exists. I honestly forgot this thing existed. I'm not gonna even lie. And yeah, it just looks like one of those like Santa's helpers at the mall. I'm just not a big fan of it. It just looks way too derpy. And finally, we got Iron Valiant, which is the fairy fighting type futuristic version of Gallade and Gardevoir, apparently fused together in one. And this is an extremely hot take. I know that a lot of people will probably like this thing because everyone loves Gardevoir, everyone loves Gallade, and they literally fuse them together. I don't know what it is. I think maybe it's just the eye. The eyes just like are not like, they just look weird. And also the mixing of both like a knight and like, you know, the dress that Gardevoir has. It just doesn't work. I don't know. I don't like this thing. I just think it's disturbing. I love Gallade. It's one of my favorite Pokemon. I really like Gardevoir. I'm definitely not a fan of Iron Valiant. Honestly, like out of all the ones that I've seen, this is probably the one that's the most disturbing to look at. And while these last ones are not Paradox forms, I just couldn't finish this list if I didn't include Miraidon and Koraidon. So we're going to go ahead and rank these guys. So I'm actually very happy with both of their forms, and so I'm going to give them both an A tier. I would say I probably like Miraidon a little bit more than Koraidon. But yeah, so yeah, looking at this list, it looks like the past Paradox forms definitely went out over the futuristic ones, which I guess is to be expected. They look more natural, more organic, breathing, living, that kind of thing. Whereas like the futuristic forms just look like they're a reskin that's just too robotic and not great. But yeah, so that's about it. So let me know what forms you guys are excited to use down in the comments below. Personally, I'm very excited to use Roaring Moon as I am getting Pokemon Scarlet. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. But that's about it. Please comment and subscribe, and I'll catch you all next time. Peace.